Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Ram. So last time I worked on the space shuttle, I wasn't being very serious. I guess I wasn't very clear that I wasn't being very serious because a lot of people took it like it was a very serious attempt and were like, you fool, you fool! And yes, I was a fool. Really, I should have known better than to do many of the things I did, like trying to drain the fuel in both of these tanks in order to change the center of mass. While that would change the center of mass, it wouldn't change it enough or in the right direction to really make a difference. What I needed to do was angle the engines, which as you can see here, they have been angled more. Additionally, let's see, what else did I have to do? Oh yes, I added separatrons to these SRBs because they wouldn't actually decouple properly. And let's see, what else have I done? I've also added a couple extra struts because I noticed it was a wobblier connection than I wanted it to. I changed the launch profile a bit. You notice it's actually leaning back to start with. I mean, I could launch it vertically, I'm pretty sure, and it would still go okay. It's just this actually works better. I'm gonna go ahead and whoops. Let's go ahead and launch it like this just to demonstrate what would happen if I tried to launch it like this, which is not the best because now it's not gonna go straight up. So as you can see when it loads in, yeah, those whatchamacallit, the launch enhancers or something, they do not hold us particularly well. Launch stability enhancers, yes, because there's only 2 of them and they're so far that way, does not work very well. We have this little extra tank that's attached to the launch platform to give us some fuel so that we can do this. And then wait for the rocket to settle down, and it's pretty much settled down, and we're almost out of that booster fuel, and that's when we do that. And because I started out that way, I had to tilt us quite badly in order to get started, and now we are off on our way. Unfortunately, I pulled back just a little too hard, so now we're having a little bit of control issues, especially because this thing will roll on its own, and it is difficult to roll. It is very difficult to roll. Right now it's easier to roll because we have thrust on those SRBs. In fact, that's why I'm going ahead and rolling it the rest of the way over right now. But that's not really possible later in flight. In fact, oh gosh, hold on. Oh yeah, the reason it's not that it's hard to roll, I just remembered. It's not that it's hard to roll. In fact, as you can see, we're rolling all over the place. It's hard to yaw. And that's because I can't tell the gimbal on these shuttle engines to ignore one axis. So I guess we're going into a northerly orbit this time around because I can't control it to go otherwise because, oh geez, this is, yeah, as you can see, it's not very good at that. Oh, and we lost the wing this time, so that's not good. We're actually gonna die if we keep it up at this rate, so I'm just gonna ditch that. In fact, we're gonna die anyhow at this point, but yeah, unfortunately destruction effects still does not recognize, well, because it hasn't been updated since the first release, it does not recognize the difference between a separation and an explosion, a piece falling off that's not supposed to fall off. Maybe if I enable this for pitch, pitch and roll, maybe that would help a little. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's go ahead and activate using these. Try and use a little bit of thrust to regain control. There's no way in hell we're landing this, especially because we have wow, this is not good. Okay. Hell, actually, if we can get this spinning at the right, yeah, there's no way in hell we're gonna land this successfully. We can slow down a little. We can spin madly, but otherwise, not going to go well. Another thing that's bad is that the top engine there will, oh, let's turn that off. The top engine clips into the tail ever so slightly. So yeah, I'll need to reposition the tail or reposition the engine. Since the engines seem to be in a pretty good position, I think I'll focus on repositioning the tail first. But as you can see, this is not good. The shuttle also isn't complete either. It has no RCS. But we'll just go ahead and let our trainees here die. Did I say let them die? I didn't say that. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, fuck. Shouldn't have turned that on yet. Hold on. And stabilize full boost. That didn't help at all, really. Actually, it might. Wait for it. Full throttle. Oh, I am good. I am good. That was fucking great. Alright, so since that launch went very badly, and I feel the need to prove myself, here is another copy of the same vehicle in orbit. It's not the best orbit. I mean, we have an 84 by 167 and inclined orbit, so it's not really what I intended to do. It's more accurate to what the shuttle would do in terms of it being inclined, although it's the apoapsis and periapsis are off quite a bit. And that's because it's difficult to fly, and also because, well, actually this one isn't quite the same. It's very, very close. I don't remember what the difference is, but let's go ahead and fly it real fast. So, as you can see, we're here in orbit. We have the, whatchamacallit, the shuttle bay open, which doesn't have an action group yet. I haven't set one up. And otherwise, it's our shuttle. It's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and close those because I don't need them open. I'm going to have to try a re-entry and landing with this at some point. Oh, yes, you can see we still have plenty of fuel on board. Our little OMS engines work properly. I believe I need to set an action group for turning off the main engines as well. These ones have been turned off, but I believe the gimbal's still active even though they're off. Let's see. Yeah, see, they still gimbal around even though they're off. Let me try telling them to stay off. Oh yes, the thrust limiter is also set on all my main engines to 80%. I might want to change that. I'm not sure. It seems to be working quite well at 80%, but at the same time it might work better at a higher percentage. In fact, I don't know. So while transferring back to the VAB, I remembered exactly what the difference is, and the difference is these fuel ducts right here. Basically, the center of mass transferred to the bottom of this stage while it was going because the fuel flow in rockets is from the top down. So I added little fuel lines here and here that will keep the fuel in a cyclic flow, which should make the tanks drain at the same rate. Although I'm not 100% sure if that trick still works. I know it used to work. I don't know if it still works. Let's go ahead and give it a try. I actually haven't had a chance to try it yet. I was working on this earlier and then had to leave, so we shall see. And while we're doing that, I'm also going to set the thrust limit on these to 100, and we're going to hope that that doesn't break everything. It probably won't, but it might. Alright, so hopefully this time around you'll get a better demonstration of the takeoff. So first we fire the main engines at full power, wait till it stabilizes, and go. And as you can see, that has us lifting off at a slightly ridiculous angle. I mean, the real shuttle does not launch at that angle, not at all. Unfortunately, due to KSP physics and sizes of things, we can't quite launch this the way the real shuttle would. Not quite, but we can do kind of close. And I have the thruster at... Yeah, those fuel lines didn't do shit. So yeah, that's good. That's good. What was I gonna say? So, we have... Yes, oh yeah, I now remember what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that if you'll notice now, we're not having any roll problems. Launching at already tilted like that helped with the roll problems. And you're going to get to see a clean booster separation this time. Unless it turns out that my booster separation... The fuck? Huh. It didn't have symmetrical problems and then suddenly disintegrate before. I mean, it's completely symmetrical. There should be no way for that to happen. Interesting. So I'm going back to the 3.3 version. This is why I save multiple versions of things. And we're going to launch it again, since this is the one that I actually got into orbit and worked really well. Okay, so same thing as before. We launch the first stage, wait for it to settle. It gets settled pretty quickly. Then I engage SAS and launch. And as you can see, we're now flying. Alright, this time I'm going to have the aerodynamic overlay on. Maybe if this one decides to flip out, we can see why, since we're going to go ahead and have a look at the aerodynamic forces. Now, I'm not touching the controls, I just have stability assist on, which should be pitching down a little bit to compensate for, well, the misalignment of the center of thrust to the center of mass, and also the SRBs a bit. And a tiny bit of roll and yaw, but very, very little, just enough to keep us straight and steady. Yeah. Slightly asymmetric force is being applied very, very slightly. And interesting how the control surfaces suddenly quit having force. That was interesting. Hadn't seen that before. Okay, and those should be running out momentarily. Oh wait, no, not quite. And as you can see, clean separation. Probably should work on that a little bit. Also, the arrow, the chute, one of the chutes got destroyed immediately, or both. I'm not sure. I'll probably change that since they shouldn't be being destroyed immediately. And as you can see, I start to tilt backwards a little bit. We pick up a bit more drag, but oops, I've tilted more than I thought I did. No, I haven't. Yeah, and as you can see, we're slightly off of the 90 degrees, and there's not much I can do about that. It is slightly pulling back on its own, though. That's nice. But there's not, like I said, there's not much I can do about that, because if I try to roll, I can roll a little bit to try and compensate. But normally when I try to compensate for this, things go badly. In fact, hold on. Apoapsis is getting pretty high. Let's go ahead and throttle down a bit. And we're now getting this kind of rhythmic swaying going on. I'm going to see if I can try and pull us more this way. No, see, that's the thing. I can't really yaw. I can't really yaw, and I have to like yaw and roll at the same time to compensate for the yaw causing roll, which is very difficult to do. But I am starting to learn how to do it now, because I've noticed that it's a problem enough to have to do it now. And there we go. Okay, our apoapsis is still in the atmosphere, but it's still going higher. I'm actually throttling down more to get our apoapsis higher, because I want this orbit to be a bit more controlled than our last one. We're not going to be able to go on 90. I've given up on that, because I've just noticed that the way this is oscillating, the way this is controlling, it's just not going to be possible for us to go for 90. But we should be able to successfully achieve a stable orbit at 70. Well, somewhere. I don't know exactly where. When I said 70, I was thinking kilometers. When I was saying 90, I was talking about the heading, obviously. But for some reason, my brain decided to get those confused in a funny way. I'm going to go ahead and throttle up just a bit. Yeah, I'm going to throttle up a bit more. We're getting very close to the arc of our ascent, as well as very close to the, whatchamacallit, the 70 kilometers. I'm going to go ahead and throttle up just a bit more. Okay. We're at 70, throttling up to maximum. And we're just going to try and... yeah, see, our apoapsis is going to climb up a little bit. We're going to start picking up some oscillations. Unfortunately, the PID controller on SAS is not the best. And it will eventually start to lose control. Fuck. And then we're going to start doing this kind of motion. And it's because the tank is now... almost all the fuel is in the bottom part, and none of it in the top, so it's becoming increasingly difficult for us to maintain attitude as the center of mass shifts. This is the problem that I need to fix. I believe it can be fixed by sending all fuel to the forward tank. We're at the point where we now have to ditch that, and I have to disable these. And I have to disable them because if I don't, they will activate when I activate the OMS engines, which is not what we want. Okay. We also have to clear... oh yeah. It would probably help if I actually gave us fuel. There you go. Full throttle. And as you can see, we are now maneuvering away from that. Unfortunately, these are not the best placed either. That's something I need to work on. But as you can see, we now have a... well, we have a nice apoapsis. We're not there yet. We have a thrust-to-weight ratio where we can actually increase our distance to apoapsis. I need to add like a little probe core in here somewhere that you can control from in order to have the axis that you look at on the nav ball accurate to the direction you're actually thrusting, because nothing on here actually thrusts in the direction that it says it does. And it would be helpful to have something that would tell you that. We're getting pretty close to our apoapsis. Oh yeah, I need to hold up to keep this one under control. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and start throttling up. Let's see, we're thrusting up more than we say we are, so Yeah, I think as long as I keep it around the horizon, we should be fine. And let's see, our periapsis is coming down. See, our apoapsis is climbing quite a bit though, and that's because it's difficult to maneuver this properly. And I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get us closer to a 100-kilometer orbit. Since we're very close to that already, I can time warp a bit. Oh god. Let's see. Let's see. Nope. This is the problem when you get really close to orbital, like where you're gonna go. Because the moment you start thrusting, you're shifting your own where you are right now. And you're trying to shift what you're doing on the other side. Okay. And whoops, oops, that I am confusing myself. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that now because I just confused the hell out of myself in a weird way. Right, let's, come on, let's tilt back that way, thank you. Alright, and SAS. Oops, there we go. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Whatever, close enough. Yeah, I don't feel like trying to perfect it anymore because really I'm just trying to say, see, look, I can make a space shuttle. I had to come back and prove that to y'all. I definitely need to improve it. I need to change this placement slightly and or change the engine placement ever so slightly. Maybe go ahead and put these up to max throttle, maybe not. Actually, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to change the tail position. I'm going to change the OMS engine position. I'm going to set up or find out what my action group is for toggling fuel flow on these, toggling these off, and turning these on, because that needs to be an action group. I also need to set up an action group for the bay. I probably should set up a RTG in here. Probably should set up radiators as well. Although, actually, we've done just fine without them, so I'm going to assume they're not necessary, which is a bad thing to assume. I also need to have RCS engines on here, because we have none. None at all. This is a prototype. It also doesn't have any docking thing in the bay, although I'm thinking of keeping the bay empty and releasing it as an empty bay, so it's like, you can add whatever docking arrangement you want. I just want to have it capable of orbiting, deorbiting, and maneuvering. Of course, we don't know if it can deorbit, so I figure let's go ahead and try that out. What should we put our apoapsis at, or rather our periapsis to deorbit? Do you think 30 should be good? 30, 40? Let's set it for 43, since I just happened to be on 43 when I hit stop just now. And also, why am I still trying to SAS around here? Because this is kind of the angle we're going to want to come in at when we get around to the other side. And I think we're going to be coming down in the day, hopefully. I hope so. We might be, we might not. I don't know, I'm still, well, now I'm going down. I was still going up for a bit there. And daytime, and we're just about to enter the upper atmosphere. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Music cut off instantly. So yes, we're entering the upper atmosphere. I'm going to go ahead and re-enable the aerodynamic forces, because those are probably going to be important in a minute here or so. I like how we're getting tiny bits of drag, even though we're so high up in the atmosphere. There's like no drag. I'm just going to keep the nose level to start with, I think. I'm not sure. Actually, let's... Oh, what's the one that's directly above us? Is it normal? Based on the direction that's rotating, no, it's not normal. Okay, it's not retrograde, it's not anti... It's radial. Radial is the direction I want it to point us at. Let's just deactivate that for a moment. Control it myself. Because... There we go. Okay. Oh, fuck. Radial. Radial, you bastard. Alright, so the idea with aiming radial is that the real space shuttle comes in flat to increase drag as much as possible and slow down quickly before going into the lower atmosphere, where it then regains control in a proper manner. And going radial means that we're going to be sticking straight up as we come in. Unfortunately, sticking straight up is probably not the best way to come in, but I guess we'll figure that out the hard way by coming in like this. This can only... Ooh, excuse me. This can only go well, I said, lying. That is a great screenshot, other than the fact that it's a bit dark. You can't really see the shuttle. This side you can see the shuttle, but this side you cannot. At this point, I'm going to just shut up and fast forward what happens until I either exclaim in disbelief because it doesn't work, or, you know, just enjoy it and see it working. And hey, look! We have drag indicators. That's good. That's good. Whoa, 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 whoa. I pulled up a bit too hard. We started tilting to the side, so I brought the nose back down and regained stability, I'd say, right about now. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Let's go ahead and switch this to surface mode, because that's more appropriate for what we're trying to do. Yeah, it's starting to roll a little on its own. Everything seems to be fine, though. I mean, we haven't gotten any heat warnings the whole re-entry, so I'd say we're doing pretty well on that. I'm beginning to have some worry about losing control, considering I'm pitching down as much as I can, and I can't really pitch down. Of course, we're still at Mach 4 right now, so... Alright, we're really starting to lose speed, and I'm really still having a problem pitching down. Shock heating is almost gone, Mach 3. Alright, we're hitting Mach 2 now. I'm still not sure if I'm starting to regain control or not, though. Oh, it's pitching up again on its own. It's kind of wobbling. It's a really stable configuration at this point, but the thing is, I don't want it stable in this configuration. Mach 1.5. Alright, we're starting to pitch down, but that's also it's still kind of holding that same angle of attack, or close to the same angle of attack, even though we're pitching down. Starting to roll a little. Almost at Mach 1. I was trying to correct for roll there, and we started... Oh, now we're having... Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. Okay. Lots of side slip going on, and now we have lost control. Okay, so I do have engines available, but I'm not going to use them, because my idea right here is I want to treat this as if we're flying it the way we'd be flying it coming in from a mission. All our fuel is gone. We wouldn't burn the OMS engines in the atmosphere even if we could. They're not used in the atmosphere. They're not useful in the atmosphere. Alright, so this thing is wanting to fly backwards. Alright, the question is, can I regain control at all? And the answer is probably not. Unfortunately, it seems that this thing did lose control, and it's now in an unrecoverable tailspin, which is not good. At least we're below Mach 1, but unfortunately we lost control a little bit before going below Mach 1, so I do not see how we're getting out of this, really, other than by spinning massively. No, that won't help at all. I mean, I'm trying and it's not doing much of anything. I somehow accidentally activated RCS even though we have no RCS on board. The only thing I could try to do now is activate those engines if I had the time to, but I doubt I have the time to. I mean, the way right-clicking works, I mean, if I went into chase mode, I'd have a better chance, but there's not time for that. And we have managed to rescue one Kerbal, assuming they survive the resulting fall. Please survive it. Please survive it. And with a squeak, she or he is alive. And I believe, yes, it is a she. This is Eureka Kerman, the sole survivor of the SPAC Shuttle 3.3. Launch 1. Yeah. Oh wait, never mind. Everyone else is alive too. I didn't notice the cockpit had survived. Never mind. The sole boneless survivor, because everyone else stayed in their seats and is okay, whereas she jumped out and broke all her bones. Or not, as the case may be, since she seems to be fine. Also, I just noticed you can't pull out the jetpack or put it away while walking. That's kind of strange. So yeah, this shuttle obviously needs work, but it's more complete than it was last time. I'll go ahead and put a download of the work in progress version, even though... Yeah, I will. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in space.